The battlefield did not fade into silence. It burned until the very end. Fragments of shattered warships drifted across the void, glowing like dying stars. The sky above the broken moon was alive with fire, streaks of destruction cutting through space in violent arcs. Somewhere in that chaos, one human refused to disappear. He should have died. His armor was torn open. The metal edges melted inward where energy had struck too close. Beneath it, his wound pulsed faintly with a strange glow, something unnatural, something that did not belong to human biology. His breathing was uneven, fading, yet still there. Still fighting. The explosion that should have erased him had thrown him across the fractured surface instead. Now he lay motionless, staring upward at a sky that looked like it was collapsing. Then the shadows came. They did not rush. They descended. Tall figures in seamless silver armor surrounded him, their movements precise and controlled. No wasted motion. No panic. They were nothing like humans in battle. One of them knelt. A hand hovered over his wound, not touching yet, as if studying something deeper than flesh. The faint glow beneath his skin reacted instantly, flickering in response. The soldier tried to move. He failed. Darkness pulled at him again. And then everything disappeared. Light returned without warning. Clean. Bright. Perfect. The human's eyes opened slowly, adjusting to a world that felt impossibly different. The air was smooth, controlled, almost too perfect to be natural. Beneath him, the surface shifted slightly, responding to his weight. He was alive. That realization hit first. The second came immediately after. He was not on the battlefield anymore. The chamber around him stretched wide, curved walls lined with flowing light. Beyond a transparent barrier, an entire planet glowed below, wrapped in silver storms and orbiting structures. He sat up quickly. No pain. His hand moved to his chest. Nothing. No wound. No scar. No damage. Only memory. Movement at the far end of the chamber drew his attention. Aliens entered. Not armored this time. Their faces were visible, calm, refined, watching him carefully. One carried a thin device, glowing with shifting symbols. Scanned him. The sound it made changed. Something was wrong. They exchanged glances. Confusion. Before anything else could happen, the air shifted. The room changed. Every alien straightened instantly. Someone important had arrived. The entrance opened, and she walked in. At first glance, she looked almost human. But something about her presence made that illusion meaningless. Her movements were too precise. Her gaze too sharp. Her authority too absolute. She did not look at the others. She looked only at him. The human held her gaze without fully understanding why. She stepped closer. Slowly. Silence deepened. Her eyes moved to his chest, to the place where the wound had been. Something flickered in her expression. Recognition. Her hand lifted. The same hand from the battlefield. This time she touched him. Warmth spread instantly through his body. Not technology. Something else. Something alive. The room reacted. Tension. Stillness. And then the glow returned. It spread beneath his skin, brighter than before, pulsing like energy that had been waiting to awaken. The queen's composure shifted for the first time, just slightly. She had not expected this. The light faded slowly. But the silence remained. Heavy. Final. She spoke. Softly. You are mine now, human. No one moved. No one questioned it. Because whatever she had just done could not be undone. The words did not echo. They settled into the room like something permanent. Every alien lowered their gaze. Not fear. Recognition. The human stayed still, processing what had just happened. He did not understand their language fully, but he understood tone, presence, power. This was not a casual statement. This was law. The queen stepped back slightly, though her attention never left him. Around them, the others had already changed. Their curiosity was gone. Now they were calculating. He was no longer just a survivor. He was something else. More figures entered the chamber, their appearance more elaborate, their presence heavier. These were not attendants. These were leaders. They formed a semicircle, watching closely. One stepped forward, speaking quickly, their tone controlled but tense. The queen responded immediately. Shaken. The figure hesitated, then stepped back. Decision made. The human exhaled slowly. He had seen this before in his own world. Someone powerful makes a choice. Others disagree. But no one can stop it. A projection appeared in the air, filled with shifting symbols. Data scanned across it rapidly. The device focused on him again, this time more intensely. The sound changed. Sharper. More urgent. The aliens reacted instantly, their composure cracking just slightly. Something about the readings did not make sense. The human watched them carefully. He didn't need translation. He understood one thing clearly. He wasn't normal. The queen stepped forward again. The projection shifted toward her. Then she reached out. Toward him. Her hand hovered near his chest once more. And the reaction was immediate. The light returned. Stronger. Brighter. It spread across his skin in thin, glowing patterns, pulsing outward like energy mapping something unseen. The chamber shifted again, tension rising sharply. The alien stepped back. Not in fear. In caution. The projection flickered, struggling to keep up. The human felt it. Not pain. Power. Something inside him was responding to her, reacting as if her presence triggered something buried deep within him. The queen did not move away. She watched, carefully, confirming something. The light reached its peak, then vanished. Silence followed. Heavy. Understanding filled the room. One of the leaders spoke again, faster this time, more intense. The queen answered immediately. Firm. Final. No argument remained. The human inhaled slowly. Whatever was happening, it was bigger than him. The queen turned back to him. Her expression had changed. Not curiosity anymore. Certainty. She had seen enough. He straightened instinctively, meeting her gaze again. There was no fear in him. Only the same stubborn resilience that had kept him alive when he should have died. That mattered. More than anything. Around them, the others were already adapting, recalculating everything they thought they understood. Because this human was not supposed to exist like this. The queen stepped closer one final time. Her voice came again. Unavoidable. You will remain. No choice. No hesitation. The human looked past her, at the massive planet below, at the endless structures in orbit, at a civilization far beyond his own. Then back at her. Everything in his life before this moment was gone. This was something new. Something unknown. But not something he would run from. His posture shifted. Decision made. Far beyond that chamber, beyond that world, something had already begun to move. Because an alien queen had claimed a human. And this time, the human did not resist. The Empire did not react with panic. It reacted with precision. Across orbiting stations and distant command centers, information moved faster than light, carried through channels designed for war and governance alike. Reports were analyzed, reanalyzed, and then locked behind layers of authority that only a few could access. One detail repeated in every transmission. Human. Life. Change. And bound to the queen. Inside the palace, the atmosphere had shifted in ways no one spoke about openly. Guards no longer watched the human with curiosity. They watched him with discipline sharpened by uncertainty. Servants moved carefully, silently adjusting to a presence that did not fit any known order. He noticed everything. Humans always did. The first time he stepped beyond the recovery chamber, he realized just how vast the structure truly was. The palace was not built like anything on Earth. Flowed. Hallways curved in impossible directions. Platforms floated effortlessly. And entire sections seemed to exist without visible support. And everywhere he walked, eyes followed. Some curious, some cautious, some calculating. He stopped near a wide transparent wall, staring down at the planet below. Storms of silver light rolled across its surface, vast and endless. Ships moved in silent formations above it, precise and controlled. A civilization far beyond humanity. And somehow he was now inside it. Footsteps approached behind him. He did not turn immediately. He already knew who it was. The air changed when she was near. The Queen stopped beside him, her gaze moving past him to the world below. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was not uncomfortable. It was measured, intentional. He finally shifted his posture slightly, acknowledging her presence without fully facing her. Not submission. Not defiance. Balance. She noticed. Course she did. Her attention moved to him again, studying the way he stood, the way he held himself despite everything that had happened. Most beings brought into this place would have shown fear. He did not. That alone made him dangerous. Not to her. To everything else. A subtle movement in the distance broke the stillness. Dozens of them. Their formation was tight, deliberate, far more aggressive than the usual calm patterns that surrounded the planet. The human's eyes narrowed slightly as he focused on them. Even without understanding alien strategy, he recognized it. This was not routine movement. This was preparation. Queen saw it too. Her expression did not change, but something behind her eyes sharpened. A signal pulsed through the palace. Almost instantly, the environment shifted. Lights adjusted. Pathways redirected. Distant movement accelerated as the entire structure responded to a command that had not been spoken aloud. The human turned fully now, looking at her. Understanding. Not of details. Of direction. Something was coming. And it was not friendly. Moments later, the chamber doors opened. Several high-ranking figures entered quickly, their composure intact but their urgency impossible to hide. A projection formed between them, displaying a cluster of incoming vessels marked with unfamiliar signatures. Enemy. Not the same as before. Something else. The human stepped closer to the display, studying the movement. Their formation was tight, aggressive, but not chaotic. This was not an attack driven by emotion. This was calculated. Test. Or a challenge. The figures spoke rapidly, their tones sharp, controlled, pressing for immediate decisions. The Queen listened without interruption. Then she raised her hand. Silence. Instant. Absolute. Her decision followed without hesitation. Commands flowed outward through the system, redirecting fleets, activating defenses, shifting positions across orbit. The palace itself adjusted again, sealing sections, reinforcing others. War was returning. But this time it was different. The human felt it before he understood it. That same energy from before stirred beneath his skin, faint at first, then stronger. It responded not just to the Queen now, but to the tension, the approaching conflict. He looked down at his hands. The light flickered briefly. Live. Waiting. The nearest alien noticed. Then another. The reaction spread quickly through the room. This was not normal. The Queen turned toward him again. Not surprised. Expecting it. She stepped closer. And for the first time there was no distance between them. Her hand rose once more. Not to test. Not to confirm. Connect. The moment her fingers touched him, the energy surged. Stronger than before. Brighter. It spread across his body in sharp, luminous patterns, pulsing outward like a signal being broadcast. The projection in the center of the room reacted instantly, systems struggling to process the sudden spike in unknown output. The human didn't pull away. He stood firm. Because this time he understood something important. This was not harming him. This was unlocking something. The light stabilized. But it did not disappear. It remained beneath his skin, steady now, controlled. The Queen's gaze held his. There was no uncertainty left in it. Only decision. Around them the others had stepped back completely. Not out of fear. Out of recognition. They were witnessing something that had not happened in generations. Maybe longer. The human exhaled slowly, turning his attention back to the projection. The incoming fleet was closer now. Time was running out. He didn't know their technology. He didn't know their systems. But he knew war. And war, no matter the species, followed patterns. His posture shifted again. Not as a prisoner. Not as a guest. Something else. Blind. The Queen saw it instantly. And accepted it. Without words. Beyond the palace, fleets moved into position, weapons charging, defenses rising. The planet itself seemed to brace for impact as the unknown enemy approached. Inside, a single human stood beside an alien queen. No longer separate. No longer uncertain. The bond between them had changed everything. Because this was no longer just her empire. And no longer just his survival. This was something new. Something dangerous. Something the universe had never seen before. A human who could not die when he was supposed to. And a queen who had chosen him anyway. The enemy fleet entered range. And for the first time, they were not prepared for what was waiting. The enemy did not slow down. They entered the system like a blade cutting through silence. Their ships dark and angular, moving in perfect formation. No signals of negotiation. No hesitation. Only intent. Destroy. Across the Empire's defenses, energy surged as fleets aligned in response. Weapons charged. Shields expanded. Entire stations shifted position with mechanical precision. War had arrived. Inside the command chamber, the projection expanded, tracking every movement of the incoming force. Lines of strategy formed and reformed in real time, but one truth remained constant. The enemy was strong, stronger than expected. The human stood at the center of it all, watching carefully. He did not understand every symbol, every system, but he understood patterns. And this one was wrong. They're not testing, his instincts told him. They're certain. That made them dangerous. The Queen stood beside him, her presence steady, unshaken even as tension built across the chamber. Around them, her commanders waited, their attention divided between the approaching threat and the human who now stood at her side. 'Cause something had changed. Not just politically. Fundamentally. The first strike came without warning. A wave of energy tore through the outer defense line, precise and overwhelming. One of the Empire's forward stations vanished in a silent flash, its structure collapsing into fragments of fading light. No explosion. No resistance. The chamber stilled. Even the most composed among them felt it. This enemy did not fight like others. They erased. The second strike followed immediately, targeting fleet positions with unnatural accuracy. Ships moved to intercept, but the timing was off by seconds. Seconds that mattered. The human stepped forward, closer to the projection. His eyes tracked the movement again, faster this time, sharper. Something beneath his skin flickered faintly, responding to the rising intensity. They're predicting you, his mind realized. Not guessing. Calculating. Learning. Adapting. The Queen turned slightly toward him, sensing the shift before he spoke it aloud. And in that moment something passed between them. Not words. Understanding. Her hand moved toward him again. Not hesitation. Not doubt. Trust. The instant her fingers touched his arm, the energy surged. Brighter than ever before. It spread across him in sharp, glowing patterns. No longer unstable, no longer wild. This time it moved with purpose. Control. The entire chamber reacted. Systems flickered. The projection distorted briefly, overwhelmed by the sudden spike of unknown energy. The human felt it fully now, not as something foreign, but as something that belonged to him. Awakened. His gaze locked onto the enemy fleet. And for the first time, he understood. Not their language. Their logic. They're not just targeting ships, his instincts sharpened. They're targeting decisions. Every move the Empire made was being read, predicted, countered before it fully happened. That's why they were winning. The human took another step forward. The light beneath his skin pulsed once. Then again. Stronger. They think in patterns, his mind aligned. So break the pattern. He raised his hand slightly toward the projection. Around him, the alien commanders froze. Not because of what he was doing. 'Cause they felt it. Something vast. Something different. The Queen did not stop him. She allowed it. 'Cause she knew. The energy surged outward. Not as a weapon. As a signal. It moved through the system in an instant, faster than any command structure, bypassing protocols, bypassing logic, touching every active defense and ship simultaneously. For a brief moment, everything paused. Then everything changed. Fleet movement shifted. Not in predictable formations. In chaos. Human chaos. Ships broke alignment, abandoning perfect symmetry for irregular motion. Timing fractured. Attack patterns split into unpredictable waves. To the Empire it looked wrong. To the enemy, it was impossible. Their precision faltered. For the first time their calculations failed. A defensive line they expected to collapse instead moved unpredictably. A strike meant to destroy instead missed by fractions that should not exist. Confusion spread through their formation. Teeny, but critical. The human's hand tightened slightly. The energy responded instantly. Guiding. Not controlling. Enhancing instinct. Now, everything in him aligned. The Empire struck back. This time not as a perfect machine, but as something alive. Unpredictable. Adaptive. Human. The first enemy ship fell. Then another. Their formation began to fracture under pressure they could no longer calculate. Precision turned into hesitation. Hesitation turned into vulnerability. And vulnerability turned into defeat. Within minutes, the unstoppable advance had broken. Within moments more, it collapsed entirely. The remaining enemy ships retreated. Their movements no longer perfect, no longer certain. They fled. Silence followed. Real silence this time. Across the chamber no one spoke. No one moved. Because what they had just witnessed was not strategy alone. It was transformation. The human lowered his hand slowly, the light beneath his skin fading to a steady glow. Not gone. Still there. The Queen stepped closer. Her gaze met his again, but this time it was different. Not curiosity. Not authority. Recognition. Not of a subject. Of an equal. Around them, her empire stood in quiet realization. Everything had changed. Not because of war. Because of him. The human exhaled softly, looking once more at the stars beyond the chamber. The battlefield he had come from felt distant now. Like another life. Another version of himself. He turned back to her. No hesitation left. No uncertainty. Only choice. He stayed. And this time, it was not because he was claimed. It was because he chose to stand there. With her. At the edge of something new. Far beyond that system. Far beyond the reach of their victory. Something else had already begun to move. Other civilizations. Other empires. They had all felt it. Shift. Signal. A warning. Because the galaxy had seen powerful rulers before. It had seen unstoppable fleets. It had seen empires rise and fall. But it had never seen this. An alien queen. And a human who refused to follow the rules of the universe. And from that day forward, they would learn.